Hello, this is the Harboring Light. I'm Mary. I give a conservative take about the world around me. Appreciate all the feedback, and I appreciate all you listeners. And also with Christmas right around the corner and New Year's and all the other holidays, you have holiday stories you want to share and you have show ideas, feel free to reach out to me. The best way to do that is through email. All right, so some of the audio platforms that I'm on: Speaker, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. And to mention, I'm pretty much on all of the platforms, even a different version of Apple, but not Apple Media. And I'm even on that too. So check me out. And YouTube as well. And I appreciate the comments that the comments that I've been getting. Some have been written, some have just been likes, some have been dislikes. I appreciate all of it. And you enjoy YouTube, you want to fill up the comment board, feel free to do that. So, the topic of choice is about the song Rocking Around the Christmas Tree. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to get right into it. First, I'm going to address and talk about the AI-generated version. And then I'm going to hop in and extend on that with sources. And, of course, sources will be provided for you. Okay, so and initially, before I begin, I'm going to start out by saying this. The first time I heard this song, which is adequate enough, was for the first Home Alone movie. And a movie like that, and God rest his soul, but John Hughes was really good. And that, as I mentioned before about John Hughes and his impact and the aspects of his contributions to cinema, he was really good about showing the dynamic of families and the aspects of how that impacts children, particularly in this case, a younger child, and then versus most of his other films that has to do with adults versus teenagers and so forth. And so when I first heard this song, it was complimentary to the scene. And then that's what's really impactful about the aspects of music that really, and the song, the singer, the songwriter, so forth, that are able to paint a picture about the subject matter. And so with that said, I'm going to get into the facts. Okay, it says Brenda Lee's Rocking Around the Christmas Tree was originally recorded in 1958 when she was just 13 years old. It reached the number one spot on the Billboard Hot 100 chart on December 9th of 2023, making a historic achievement as the oldest artist ever to top the chart at the age of 78. And I mean, as I said, when something is, I think it's really simple here. when you're able to delve deep into something that's really relatable to a lot of people, it it's a no-brainer. It will last. So, this milestone has established the longest time span between a song's initial release and its ascent to the number one Hot 100 at 65 years of age. So the song was written by Johnny Marks, a Jewish songwriter known for Christmas classics like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and A Holly Jolly Christmas, despite not celebrating Christmas itself. So I think this is quite interesting. This is a good point to bring out. Despite your faith, that is not fate, but your faith, and in particularly your fate in how you disposition yourself about spirituality, it shouldn't devoid yourself away from embracing the spirit, which is being giving, being joyful, uplifting. And so essentially this man was embodying that. I mean, because the song like Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, the song like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, initially, and reason why they stand the test of time, because first of all, they have to do with obstacles. They have to do with overcoming obstacles, not delving in your obstacles thinking there's no way out, finding a solution. And also overcoming that solution, but uplifting other people within it. And so that is the hallmark to what's so benevolent, so spectacular about having faith. Because initially, these are the cornerstones for spirituality. And also, this should be linking into, despite if you celebrate it or not, I celebrated it. I had of Christian faith too. But, this just should be what should be the foreground of people understanding this is what Christmas is all about. Uplifting, being there for your fellow man, helping your fellow man, and so forth. And this is something that should, leak out all year round. I mean, that's easier said than done. Some people just don't have that within them, But food for thought. All right, so it was recorded in Nashville in October of 1958 with producer Owen Bradley, creating a winter atmosphere in the studio by using air conditioning and a Christmas tree to inspire the mood. Although it failed to chart significantly upon its initial release in 58 and on 59, it gained popularity after Brenda Lee's other hit in 1960 eventually peaked number 14 in the U.S. and number 3 on the Christmas single chart in 65. The song became a cultural spectacle after being featured in 1990's, as I mentioned, Home Alone, when Kevin McAllister uses it to fool burglars, significantly boosting its mainstream appeal. It has been covered by numerous artists, including Kim Wilde and Mel Smith, both in 1987, Justin Bieber in 2020, and forgive me for pronunciation of this, Pyri Ragnu in 2022, with Bieber's version reaching number 4 in the UK. So in 2023, the song single was further cemented when Brenda Lee released the official music video for the 65th anniversary of the track, featuring Tanya Tucker and Trisha Yearwood. And Tanya Tucker and Trisha Yearwood, they are, within their own right, are staples to the country motif here. And so what do I mean by the country motif? Well, particularly, I should say the country singer motif. So when they came about, Tanya Tucker, she was like 70s, 80s, and then, under the 90s, Trisha Yearwood, more 90s, 80s, so forth. But she came more prolific, in the 90s and so forth. That was around the time when country artists were singers. And what I mean by that they could sit down and just sing to you without all the spectacle. Versus today with country music merging with elements of pop, the spectatorship is, leaking into country music to where, it loses its original touch. And so, also to add on to this, country music really embodies the spirit, of the holiday of Christmas season. Because when you think about it, when you got your Johnny Cashes, you got your, oh my God, the list goes on. Reba McEntire, you got your Clint. Oh man, his face is right here in my mind, but I don't. Let me see. Let me think about it. Well, oh man. He redid a lot of, his number one, but he did so many. He's a remarkable singer. I don't know why. It's just one of those, it's just a real thing, a tip of the tongue phenomenon. And y'all, fill in the comments if you want to. But the song Thunder Road when the lightning strikes. So people like him, those powerhouses of singers, Dolly Parton, goodness, these singers, they were able to just simply sit down and sing to you and so forth. And people would listen. And, a little spectatorship now and then, but they would just really sing to you. And so when you get into the arc of country music, it has to do with, most of the time, heartbreak, most of the time, just real life struggles. But the overtone about it is, you don't, for the most part, not dwelling in it. You're trying to find higher ground, and you uplift by doing it, and you uplift by taking you on the journey of talking about it and relating to other people. So that's a nice touch to have the country music artists as these women of their renown. So a Spanish language version using AI generated vocals from Brenda was released in 2024, making a significant technological milestone in music production. So what are my thoughts a little bit, and I'll get into the other sources. So I'm going to touch on this a lot in the new year, and particularly in January, when I cover the aspects of lip singing and all the different scandals and so forth. I'm doing a really in-depth version. So I'm going to touch on this a little bit. So I think AI in itself is one of those tricky things that sometimes you got to take it for what it is, if you want to implement and do something with it. But you have to be clever and smart about it to where it doesn't just overpower and take away from your natural gift or a person's natural gift or signature. And it also can be very scary. Twilight Zone. I think Black Mirror is just a cheap version of Twilight Zone, okay? Hey, that's my opinion. Y'all come at me, the ones that like Black Mirror, that's fine. But it's just to each his own with that. But it's dystopian in a way that, it's the power that can use it for very mischievous actions. And so take it for what you will, but that it's one of those things you got to be smart about how it's implemented in the aspects of everyday life and also in the aspects of the music industry. All right, so I'm going to get into more facts about this song. Again, this was from the album, and I'm reading from Song Facts here. From the album Merry Christmas from Brenda Lee, which was initially released in 1958, and it charted 4 in the UK and number 1 in the US. So this holiday classic about Yuletide Dance Party was written by Johnny Marks, a very prolific Christmas songwriter who was also Jewish. So Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree has lyrics that are rather dated, but that hasn't dulled the appeal of it. It takes place at the Christmas party hop, which was very significant around the time, as I said. No, I didn't really mention this. I mentioned this, Sunday for I appreciate the supporters. I for the past week or so, I've been talking about my perspective about different genres of music. And this past Sunday, I mentioned and talked about boy bands and then crooners and that sound. And so when you get in the 50s, you got the sock hops and stuff. And a song like this is it's a nice compliment to that scene. All right. So it says it takes place at the Christmas party hop, a festival sock hop where teenagers would take off their shoes and dance. Sock hops were big in the 50s, and in 57, Danny and the Juniors had a huge hit at the hop. Excuse me. The song also evokes quaint traditions like caroling and mistletoe, but it all comes off in a good old-fashioned way. So Brenda Lee was 13 years old when when this was first recorded, known as the Little Miss Dynamite. She stood only 4'9". All right, so Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree was at Lee's first Christmas single back in 1956. She recorded 2 novelty festive tunes, I'm Gonna Lasso Santa Claus and Christy Christmas as Linda Brenda Lee. First released in 1958, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree didn't dent the charts that year or the next. But in 1960, after Brenda Lee scored a few hits, it caught on and went to the number 14th in the U.S. And it charted again in 61 and also in 62, and it went on to become a Christmas classic. Now, the song was recorded in Nashville in October of 1958, so there was no chance of snow or even much of a chill. To get Brenda Lee and the Spirit, her producer, Owen Bradley, did his very best to simulate the Christmas season in the studio. So Owen had the studio all freezing cold with the air conditioning, and he had a Christmas tree all set up to can the mood just a little bit more. So Lee said in a 2006 interview with the Chicago Tribune, she had a lot of fun. So in 1987, Kim Wilde and Mel Smith, as I mentioned earlier, and also along with this, Pete Thomas, hit number 3 in the UK with their version of Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, which they recorded for the BBC Comic Relief charity. The artists who covered the song included Cyndi Lauper, Leanne Rimes, Toby Keith, Miley Cyrus, Alabama, and Ali and AJ, which is quite interesting because Miley Cyrus and Ali and AJ, they were both Disney, and the right, Miley Cyrus, they were both, Ali, she was more of the Disney star, but and right, they used music to redefine themselves away from Disney, and also Miley Cyrus, that went way left field, but the undertones of, again, when Disney was really about something that was that is very fundamental, the family. It makes a whole lot of sense to have Disney people implementing this song too. All right, so when Brenda Lee asked Johnny Marks how we came up with the idea of the song, he told her it came from watching pine trees sway in the wind on a New York beach. Okay, this is what Brenda Lee is saying. Well, I was laying on the beach when I went to sleep. No, I'm sorry. Johnny Marks is saying. He recalled to Lee. So I woke up and the pine trees were kind of swaying in the breeze. All of a sudden, I thought about Christmas and I watched them begin and they were kind of rocking. And I thought about it, rocking. I just thought about a rocking Christmas. And then I changed it to where people might want to rock around the Christmas tree. And that's kind of how it went. So in 2014, NPR asked Brenda Lee what the correct direction was to rock around the Christmas tree. This is her response. Although it is not included on her response was, I'm sorry, I thought it was more in depth than that. She just simply said south. So, take that for what you will. Although it's not included on the movie soundtrack, the song featured prominently in Home Alone of 1990 and Last Christmas of 2019, This Christmas of 2007, Miracle of 2004, Cheaper by the Dozen of 2003, Reindeer Games of 2000, Enemy of the State, 1998, Jingle All the Way, 1996, and A Long Kiss Goodnight in 1996 as well. So, TV shows, American Dad, 2020, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Charlie's Home, Alone, 2018, and it's quite interesting, trying to, they've done this, they did that with The Critic, and then again with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, with giving it a more adult theme to the aspects of being home, of the homage to Home Alone. All right, so Family Guy, Crimes in Meg's Demeanor of 2017, Road to the North Pole in 2010, American Horror Story, Unholy Night, 2012, The Simpsons, Kill Gil, Volume 1 and 2 of 2006, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Christmas Amnesia of 1998, and King of the Hill, The Unbearable Blindness of Lane of 1997. Now, Rocking Around the Christmas Tree shows up in a lot of holiday commercials. Dodge used it in 2011 to produce their year-end sales event, and SiriusXM has used it in promos for their holiday radio channel. Now, in 2018, Google Assistant used it in spots that recalled its use in Home Alone. Thanks to streaming, the song entered the Hot 100 Top 10 for the first time on the chart. This was dated in January 5th of 2019, and it was Brenda Lee's first release to reach the upper regions of the tally since Losing You, which peaked at 6 and 63. This meant that Lee set a new record for the longest period between top 10 hits for any female artist. Now, Big Honkin' Saxophone is by Boots Randolph, best known for Yaki Sax. The Benny Hill Show theme song, Rudolph played on lots of the seasons of the Nashville, and you can also hear Dear Uncle Sam by Loretta Lynn accompanying this. So Justin Bieber released a cover in 2020. His version was released exclusively on Amazon Music. Tamel Swiss, as a songwriter, recorded Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree for the soundtrack to the 2022 Amazon Prime Video rom-com, which was entitled Your Christmas or Mine. Now, Kelly Clarkson performed this song, and she played Lee on a TV series in American Dreams of 2004. And that was a pretty good series when that came out. It didn't last very long, but it was really good about the aspects of talking about the 60s and how implemental Ed Sullivan was into the impact of music and culture. All right, so Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree got an official music video for the first time when Brenda Lee posted it on November 3rd of 2023. So, at the age of 78, Brenda Lee claimed the title of the oldest artist ever to top the chart, outshining Louis Armstrong, who was 62 when Hello Dolly led in May of 1964. Lee also surpassed Cher's record as the oldest female artist to clinch the number one spot. Cher was 52 when Believe ruled the Hot 100 in March of 1999. Okay, so there's a Spanish version of the song, Noche Buena Navidad, or so that Noche, good night, Christmas. Essentially, and Christmas, good night Christmas, essentially what they're saying. So it was released in 2024. It uses the same backing track as the original with Brenda lead vocal generated with the AI generated response. So it sounds like she did in 1958. So Lee was also on board by saying, I never recorded rocking in Spanish when I would have loved to do it. To have this out now is pretty incredible, and I'm happy to introduce the song to fans in a new way. This was just the second time a major label used AI to create vocals from scratch for a famous singer. This was first done earlier that year with Randy Travis with the song entitled Where That Came From, which generated his vocals from AI trained generated renditioned his vocals to his old recordings. Travis suffered a stroke, unfortunately, in 2011 and could no longer sing. And Randy Travis was one of the powerhouses of country songs, of country music. And that's really sad. So I'm going to end on by saying this. Rocking Around the Christmas Tree is the third Christmas holiday song to reach number one in the Hot 100, following the Chipmunk song by David Seville and the Chipmunks in 1958, and All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey of 2019. So this reaches the end, and I would greatly like and appreciate your comments on this episode. Feel free to reach out, and the best way to do so, as I mentioned earlier in the show, email. All right, tune in, turn up, have a very Merry Christmas and a cheerful New Year. Bye-bye.